Have you ever lost control of your emotions at the worst possible moment and instantly regretted it? Stay with me because by the end of this, you'll know how to master your emotions and never let them sabotage you again. We're going live. We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
What's going on, guys? It's Friday. We made it to the end of another week. Good Lord, this week flew by, man. Did it fly by for you too? Let me know in the comments. Guys, check this out. I found out yesterday, because I'm a narcissist, so I'm always just looking at what I'm doing, you know. But I found out, let me share my screen here. I found out that my new book is officially a bestseller. It's a bestseller. It was a top 100 in two different categories, in sociology of marriage and family and in dysfunctional families. So I am now a two-time best-selling author. We put some respect on my name. Check out this review too. I just got another review, and thank God for reviews, man. Look at this. Look at this review here. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Medeiros, Mr. T, I'm going to call him Mr. T, says, interesting read. I wasn't sure what this book was about, but the title caught my interest. As I read it, I realized it wasn't what I expected. Instead, the book was filled with advice and examples on how a man can improve themselves and be more attractive to their partner. I never use the word partner in that book, just FYI. Whether or not they respond is another question, but the book focuses on making self-improvements with the end goal of creating a more masculine, positive leader type man. As the author states, this should in turn create a more attractive mate for your partner and lead to increased sexual intimacy. For you guys new to the channel, you're like, why is Paul screaming like a madman at the word partner? It's because when you think of your wife as your equal partner, you're already losing. You're already losing in the relationship, and it's just not a healthy dynamic, right? Because your wife, like, even though she might say partner herself and she may think that she wants an equal partner, she doesn't. She wants you to set the tone and lead in the relationship. That means that you are not equal partners, okay? You are the captain. She is your executive officer. That is a much more healthy mentality to have, where she's there to support your mission, okay? If you accept that and embrace that, you're going to have a very healthy marriage, okay? But most people are like, no, society says we got to be equal partners. Well, that's why we have the divorce rate so goddamn high, okay? All right. I digress. Guys, if you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer, and I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better in all areas of our lives. Yeah, you guys like my cock? Paul, did you just say that before the 8-minute mark? Look, we're talking about a rooster here, okay? Like, come on, guys. My kids got me this mug years ago, like for Christmas one year, and it was just the most thoughtless gift of all time. They got it at the dollar store. They're like, Dad likes coffee. Let's get him a mug. They got me the most random mug of all time. So now it's my favorite mug. And I always call it my cock of the walk mug, but it's just because my kids gave it to me without any thought. I love it. It's such a kid thing to do, right? Anyway, we're not talking about all that stuff today. Paul, would you get to the point? Yes, we are talking about this book today, okay? My man AJ from the Dragon Ship, he wrote this great book called The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology, Emotion. And it is book 3 in the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series. If you are not familiar with that series, I also wrote a book called The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence Psychology Paradigm, which we've already went over. There's another book that I'm helping Thor format, and Thor's not feeling so good, so it's hard to get feedback and notes on the stuff that I'm working on. So as soon as Thor's feeling better and he can collaborate with me better, we can get that knocked out. But the fourth book in the series is called The Hero Within, or something like that. Become the hero inside, or something like that. I gotta go and look at that again. But I'm helping Thor with that. He needs a little bit of help right now. But it's going to be a whole encyclopedia of manosphere type information, and it's all written by different guys in the space. So you're going to get lots of people's perspective. And so I think it was a genius idea that Thor had. So AJ's book is book 3. It's all about your emotion and having emotional durability, right? So we're up to chapter 4 today, which is all about developing emotional control. Before you can be emotionally durable, you have to get your emotions under control and not be so controlled by your emotions, right? Before we get into that, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Do be sure to hit that like button though, guys. Hit that like button. If you guys are watching on Facebook or X, come on over to YouTube. It's a much better experience over here. If you guys are watching live, sound off in the comments. I want to hear from you. There's a bunch of you guys watching live right now too, which is interesting because on Frame Fridays, which is arguably the most important episodes you'll ever watch on my channel, because it's all about your mind and getting your mind right and getting your emotions in check and all that kind of stuff. It's the least popular videos because everyone's like, yeah, I get it. Mindset or whatever. Like, how do I get laid? Like, how do I get more of that punani, right? It's like, guys, if you want to get more punani, get your mind right first, okay? Get your mind right first. And then also when you're over here on YouTube, do consider sending a super chat if you have any questions or just to support the show. If you're finding value in these episodes, sending a super chat really does help keep this podcast going, okay? It gets us out in front of more men, helps us keep spreading this message, all right? All right. So the first concept here in psychology emotion, and like I said, I've been saying, right, we're up to chapter 4 now, but I'm not reading this chapter to you, okay? I want you to go get the book. In fact, let me drop a link to it here in the chat. Go get a copy of AJ's book. Thor is working on AJ's audio version of it, but Thor's sort of recovering from surgery lately, so that's going to take a while. But you can get it in paperback, hardcover, and on Kindle edition. And so the first concept here is, what is emotional control? Okay, so basically what it is it's mastery over your emotions. It's not suppression. Okay, we talked about the problems with suppression last week, right? You don't want to be suppressing your emotions, okay? Your emotions have to get out somehow. They have to go somewhere. If you're bottling up your emotions, you'll tend to find that you're going to get sick, right? You're going to have lots of ailments, because you're going to be all tense. Your physiology is going to be impacted by it. It's not good for you, right? And so when it finally does come out, it's going to be like a damn explosion. That's where, people unalive themselves or other people, and it's just not good, man. You're just gonna, at the very minimum, you're gonna blow your top at somebody at the wrong time, and it's just not good. It doesn't help anybody out, right? So we're not suppressing our emotions per se. We're learning how to control them. All right. So emotional control is about understanding and managing emotions rather than bottling them up or denying their existence. Right. A really great book, besides AJ's book, by the way, a really great book on negative emotions and that sort of thing it's called Letting Go by Dr. Hawkins. I can't think of his first name, by Hawkins though, right? One of the things that guy points out in his book is that when we have a positive emotion, when something good happens to us, it just comes through us and it just flows through us and passes away. Like we're like, oh, we're feeling good in the moment, and then we let it go. Like it's no big deal. We don't hold on to that positive emotion. It's just something that just naturally flows to and through us, right? But negative emotions, we hold on to it, right? When we're feeling bad, we almost we have this negativity bias in our brain. So we almost want to just sit there and wallow in self-pity and misery and just really focus on the bad and grab a blanket and curl up and start drinking booze or whatever it is that we do to cope with that. And it's like, if you just let it flow to and through you like you do with your positive emotions, it would dissipate quicker, right? But most of us won't do that. So if you're feeling like a real negative emotion, like don't, like if you can, just sit in it for a minute and just really like feel it, and then without judgment. That's another key too, right? Don't try to resist it, because whatever we resist, it persists. So you just feel it in the moment, and then you might ask yourself, like, why do I feel this way? Like, what is this? What is this trying to tell me? What is this? What purpose does this serve, right? And if you sort of just like third-party observer look at your emotions in the moment, they tend to dissipate and go away on their own, And so instead of holding on to it and being depressed or anxious for like a week at a time, you might feel it for a good 30 minutes or so, and then you're good. You know what I mean? Like there's ways of managing this stuff. And that's what we're talking about. Managing emotions as opposed to suppressing them. Emotional control, key traits of a leader, right? A good leader. And I harp on this so much, especially in the new book, Get Her to Fuck You Again, about leadership. I talk about it a lot in in my book, Psychology Paradigm. But as a leader, right, not just in your relationship, but in life, a good traits of a leader is someone that has a little bit of emotional control, right? They have calmness, they have stability, they're reliable under pressure. All that kind of stuff establishes your authority and it builds trust with people. Like if in a crisis situation, if you can keep your cool, people are like, man, this guy, let's follow this guy into hell, right? This guy can handle whatever life is throwing at him. That's a quality of a leader. There's an impact on your cortisol levels. So like I said before, like when you're bottling up your emotions, it impacts your physiology, and that a lot of the time causes diseases, causes illnesses, it causes lots of problems, right? So there's an impact there, right? Your poor emotional management increases your cortisol levels, which leads to negative physical effects like lowered testosterone and increased fat retention. A lot of you guys are under a lot of stress because you have stressful jobs, and then you guys all have spare tires around your waist. And then you make up excuses about why you can't work out and stuff. It's like, well, I can't possibly, I work too hard and all this stuff. It's like, man, so you got to, if you can learn how to better manage that stress from work. And the odd thing is that working out and being in shape, like actually helps with that stress management. It really does. Isn't that funny? Okay. The next concept here is the role of emotional control in masculinity. So AJ has this concept of dominance through composure. So true dominance involves leading by example and staying grounded in adversity, right? That's a part of frame, right? Having good mental frame that we always talk about here in the black pill, the red pill space. Paul, was that a Freudian slip? Are you a black pill guy? Do you hate the whammon? No, I love those goofy bastards. We're gonna have fun today, guys. There's a foundation of trust and safety, right? People gravitate towards men who exude stability and security, especially women, right? One of the things that I really try to establish in my book, we're past the 8-minute mark, Get Her to Fuck You Again. It's all about understanding that women at their very core, they're emotional beings, they're security-seeking creatures, right? And they respond to strength. So if you can, a part of strength isn't just physical strength and being able to lift heavy things, although that's part of it, but being able to handle shit like emotionally, right? When like life throws stuff at you, being able to be cool under pressure makes your wife or your girlfriend or whatever like feel safe. It makes them feel secure. If they're like, oh man, he can handle whatever, that security is attractive to women, right? So so being able to have that emotional control and work on that and have that durability, that's a foundation of trust and safety, especially in your relationships. And then control is a choice. So emotional control means responding intentionally not reacting impulsively. And if you think about this, right, think about the arguments that you get in with your girl, right? Because we like to talk about relationships on this channel, right? I help guys fix their dead bedrooms. Think about this. If your wife like blasts you, right? She's pissed off about whatever women are pissed off about, that you're watching football and she's busy cleaning the house and she thinks that you need to do more around the house. And so she just like lays into you and blasts you for it, right? Your gut instinct is to like probably blast at her back, you know, like, hey, F you, I put up food on the table, bitch. Like I'm the provider around here. I think I do enough around here. I get no respect. I get no respect from you, you know? Well, when you're doing that, you're not responding with intention. You're reacting from emotion. Okay. That means your emotions are in control of you. If you can get a handle on that and not take what your wife or your girlfriend says so seriously, you're going to do much better. Right. And she's actually, it's not even about that you're watching football, right? If she does all that stuff and you handle that type of shit test really well, you know, and you just sort of goof and like make fun of her for doing all that kind of stuff like that, she's actually going to feel better. She's not going to care that you're sitting on the couch. She's going to like that you didn't react emotionally to her shit test. She's going to go, oh, you know what? Let him watch football. He does a lot around here, right? Like that's how there's no logic behind it, right? But that's how you're making her feel. It's all about how you make her feel in the moment, right? Makes no goddamn sense because women are goofy. They're goofy bastards. Speaking of women, Nurse Chick's in the house. Hey, good morning, chat. Good morning, Nurse Chick. She's gonna get the thing.
So naughty.
Yeah, she is.
I'm gonna come.
Oh, I will tonight. You know it. Daddy's all pent up. All right. Well, that's dirty. I can't believe you said that. Well, we got someone on X here. Black Lotus of the Earth. The more you can't control your emotions, the more your emotions control you. True. Hey, come on over to YouTube, brother. Come on over here. Let's see here. We got all the Beer Club brothers in here. David Cotton Farmer, let's go. CW says, morning, gents and Nurse Chick. It's Friday, baby. Too sweet. Yes. And then John says, hey, yo. Dodger says, let's fucking go. CW says, you're slaying it, Paul. And then Dodger says, you son of a bitch. CW says the dreaded P word. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Oh, hey, John Egan's in the house. He says, good morning, y'all. Yeah, all these guys are my Beer Club brothers. Guys, our next Beer Club meetup is next week on Thursday. You guys should consider joining Beer Club. I'm going to drop a link to that here in the chat here. Join Beer Club, guys. It's a good group of guys here. Almost all of these guys here are in Beer Club. And then DR says, I hate desperate simps like you. Oh, well then here, get the fuck off my channel, dude. Bye. Kamal says, damn, all these shirts you've been flaunting recently, looks like you're all your bullying paid off. Oh, you know what? Nurse Chick got this. Is one of my Christmas shirts. She got this shirt for me. Hey, Nuke's in the house. He says, hello. Yes. Good morning, chat. Stay warm, friends. Yeah, dude, it's snowing in Texas right now. That's weird, right? Oh, man. All right, guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm on all the good platforms. Get my free ebook if you haven't yet. She's Made You Weak. Go to list.comeonmanpod.com. I'll also mail you some free stickers, right? But if you don't want the stickers, just don't want stickers in the address field. But no matter what, get that book. She's Made You Weak. It's all about the beta-tization process and how women subconsciously over time will ruin your long-term relationship and they don't even know they're doing it. Okay. And it only happens if you allow it. Right. So you got to understand what's going on so you can defend against the dark arts. And if you want to get more in depth on how to fix that, get my new book, Get Her to Fuck You Again. It's available on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle. The audio version should drop next week, assuming that ACX approves it. Okay. If you go to books.comeonmanpod.com, you can get that book along with my first two books as well. Let me play a commercial for that, and then we'll get back to the topic at hand today.
Are you tired of the dead bedroom? Wondering what happened to the passion, the connection, and the spark? Well, here's your answer. Introducing Get Her to Fuck You Again, a red pill guide to fix a dead bedroom, now on Amazon. This isn't about manipulation or tricks. It's about real strategies that work. If your wife has stopped being intimate with you, it's not because the love is gone. It's because the attraction is gone. And that's fixable. This book will teach you the skills to lead your marriage, rebuild your confidence, and become the man she can't stop thinking about. 3 reasons to get this book. 1. It breaks the cycle. You'll learn how to stop doing the same things that are killing her attraction and start doing the things that reignite it. 2. It's practical and proven. With clear, actionable steps, you'll build yourself into the man you were always meant to be. 3. It works for men like you. Paul Bauer has helped hundreds of men just like you fix their dead bedrooms. And now, it's your turn. Don't let another day go by feeling frustrated and disconnected. Go to Amazon right now and buy Get Her to Fuck You Again. Read it, apply it, and watch your marriage transform. The connection isn't gone forever. You just need the roadmap to get it back. And this book is it.
You know, guys, you don't have to be in a dead bedroom to get her to fuck you again. Okay. It's going to help you out. Even if your relationship is pretty good. Okay. But you know, it could be better. One of the things that a lot of guys don't even realize is that they're in like relationships that are going pretty good, but the sex just isn't there anymore. Like it's like twice a month, you know, like she still puts out, but otherwise everything else is good. Right. I saw a TikTok video the other day where a guy was saying in the comments, right, this lady was talking about how like the key to a man's heart is giving him access to the back door like every day. Right. And this guy goes, you know what? How about access to the front door more than twice a month? I'd be okay with that. Right. So a lot of you guys don't even realize this. You just think that's normal. Like, and yeah, just sex sort of dwindles over time. Otherwise, everything else is good. No. Get this book. It'll help you fix that. Okay. It'll help you fix that situation, even if things are otherwise good. Okay. If the bedroom is not where you would like it to be and you spend more time jerking off to porn than you do banging your own wife, get the fucking book. Okay. Books.comeonmanpod.com. All right. And then we are back to talking about AJ's book. Again, here's a link to AJ's book. I'll drop a link to that as well. So the next concept here is emotional control versus emotional suppression. This is a recurring theme throughout AJ's book, okay? The difference between control versus suppression. Emotional control is defined as recognizing emotions, understanding their origins, right? Like, why do I feel this way? And then channeling them productively, okay? What's a good example of channeling your emotions productively, especially if they're somewhat negative emotions? Let's take anger for instance, because men sort of default to anger, right? Like when something not good is happening, we tend to get pissed off, right? Women they sort of default to sadness. They get sad and they want to cry, right? Men we don't cry. We get mad, right? So a good way to channel that anger productively is to, like, if you're getting really pissed off right now, go, you know what? I'm going to go grab my gym bag and go to the gym. You know, I'm going to go lift heavy weights. I'm going to go punch a heavy bag or something like that. That's a good way of channeling that anger. You know what I mean? That's a healthy way of doing that. Not laying into your wife because she's acting like a woman, right? So what are some risks of suppression? Well, we have bottling up emotions, which we talked about. That is not a good idea. Bottling those things up causes lots of problems. It can lead to explosive outbursts or reactive behavior, right? Which we already talked about, like reacting from emotion. Like to women, if you're reacting from your emotion, that signals weakness to her. She's like, this guy can't handle whatever life's throwing at him. He's weak. He's emotionally weak. You understand? And if she perceives you as being emotionally weak, she can't trust your leadership. She'll start losing attraction and respect for you, right? A woman can't love a man she doesn't respect. Okay. And then the concept of selective vulnerability, right? So here's the thing. Like we always talk about in the space, like sharing your being vulnerable with your girl is a trap. It's not a good idea. And Rich Cooper says it really well. Women don't care about men's problems. They wait at the finish line. They bang the winners, right? So being overly vulnerable with your girl can be a trap. All right. Now, what I'll say is, it's better to share those types of things. Like if you're going through problems in life, it's better to like join a group of dudes like the beer club, right? Because guys, like getting with a group of like-minded guys like in the beer club, that's a good place to bounce ideas off of people. If you're having problems in your life, like the guys will come in and give you solutions, right? Sometimes even when you don't want the fucking solutions, they'll do that. The guys at beer club are great about that. But when guys solve problems and we have, we take action towards our problems, like we naturally like feel better about it, right? But if going to your girl and just like emotionally dumping your drama and trauma on her, that's over time is going to cause her to think that you're emotionally weak as well. And that's going to cause her to lose her attraction. And the thing is if you understand the betatization process, which I talk about and Get Her to Fuck You Again, that is like step 2 in the betatization process, where your woman tries to get you to open up and be more vulnerable with her. Right. So there's a good way of doing it and there's a bad way of doing that. And I'll tell you this. If you share something bad that's going on with your life, if you are being vulnerable with your girl, it's going to be okay as long as you tack on a solution at the end of that, right? If you say, yeah, I've got all these problems at work right now and such sucks and da, but you know what? It's going to be okay. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to take care of it, right? As long as she feels like you've got shit handled, she's not going to think that you're emotionally weak. It's not going to be a problem. Okay. Now AJ talks about selective vulnerability. So sharing emotions at appropriate times reinforces leadership and trust. And I'll tell you what, a big thing that I do on this podcast is I'm vulnerable as fuck with you guys. I'm vulnerable as fuck with you guys, but we're all men here, right? We're all in the trust tree. At least most of us are. There's a few women hanging out in the chats every once in a while. But I like telling you guys about my previous struggles because it resonates with some of you guys. Like I've been where a lot of you guys are right now. I've been there. I've gotten through it. I've become better because of it. You understand? And so I share that stuff. I'm vulnerable with you guys. And when I do that selectively, like AJ talks about, you guys resonate with it. You guys actually are able to learn from things that I've already learned from, and it helps you move forward, right? It actually helps you. Okay. It also helps build rapport with my audience a little bit. You guys understand, that I'm not some, fake, perfect guy on the internet. I'm a real dude. Like I've been through some real shit. You understand? So selective vulnerability can be powerful. It can be. Right. And the same thing, like even in a relationship, you can be selectively vulnerable with your girl, but just always remember she has to, at the end of the day, like you have to frame it this way. She has to know that you're taking care of your shit. Right. So if you're telling her about your problems, maybe even if past problems, like if you told her about past problems, it's not good to talk about past relationships with current relationships. It's a bad idea. Right. But if you find yourself doing that, like if you're in this conversation, you find yourself like, already knee deep in a conversation, you're like, oh shit, I should have shared all this stuff. Tack on some positivity with it. Well, you know what? Yeah, it didn't work out, but I learned all this stuff and it made me a better person. And, we just weren't right for each other and that's okay. Like whatever. Right. Like that's okay. As long as you tack some positivity on the end of it, it'll be okay. Practical techniques for managing emotions. So AJ recommends deep breathing. That's huge, right? Just taking deep breaths by itself is like a good way of just like, especially if you're like really pissed off or if you're like having a real anxious moment, just taking a moment to take deep breaths and concentrate on your breathing really, really tends to calm you down, right? It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which reduces stress and allows clear thinking. So that's a good way of managing emotions in the moment, right? Like you're not trying to suppress it. You're trying to manage it. Like it's like almost like a cope, right? But you'll get through it better if you just concentrate on the breathing. Meditation and mindfulness is another good thing. So that builds mental resilience and it creates space between stimulus and responses. And then, one way that I practice mindfulness in the morning is with my scripting exercises. I sit down for 10 minutes every morning. I write out my whys, like I have a list of whys for various things, why my coaching program is the best fucking coaching program out there, stuff like that. And then another thing is I will sit there and write out a story of like my future life in the present tense. And I'll sit there and write that out. That's all just me getting in my mind, letting my imagination roll and stuff like that. It helps put me in the right, vibration. And that's a good mental practice. And I found that I've been doing that every day since October, and I love it. I don't know how I've not been doing this for years now. Cognitive restructuring. So that challenges negative thoughts and reframes them into constructive perspectives. A good way of doing that, if you believe something negative, right? If you like say to yourself something negative, if you want to try to reframe that, just ask yourself, is that true? Right? Is that true? Let's say that you're out in the dating circuit right now and you think that every woman out there hates you, right? Is that true? Does every woman out there hate you? Like, have you ever had a conversation with a woman that laughed at your jokes? Right? Probably have. You probably have. Like, so no, it's not true that every woman hates you. Okay. That's not true. So now that you know that that's not true, now you can cognitively restructure that. You can reframe that. You can start looking at it from a different point of view. All right. Guys, I mentioned Beer Club already. Do get into Beer Club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's just a great group of dudes, and it is popping off lately. One of our brothers in there just had a fire lit under his ass back in December, and he got over. He had a moment of weakness. He reached out to his ex, realized, fuck, I shouldn't have done that, and just is like, you know what, I'm going on the dating circuit hard, right? And so he is swapping notes in there like a motherfucker, and everyone is like motivated now. So if you are like out in the dating circuit right now and you want to swap notes with some guys that are out there doing it, like get in Beer Club right now. Is popping off. And like and some of our veterans in there, like my 3% brothers, I have a few 3% brothers that have studied all the same shit I have. They've read the books like as many times as I have. They're in there like dropping some sweet knowledge in there, like helping these guys out. It's like it's well worth the money. Plus just the camaraderie that we have in Beer Club is second to none. So check that out. Go to beer.comeonmanpod.com. And then guys, if you need help with your dead bedroom situation, or let's say that your relationship is otherwise pretty good, it's just like your wife is just not that enthusiastic anymore. And when you do have sex, it's like a chore, and you want to really rekindle that passion. Like, you can fix this, man. Like, you need to have like a thriving, passionate relationship, right? You can have that again, and I can help you. So book a free call with me. Go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com and let's talk, man. It's a free 30-minute call. If I can help you, I'll show you what that looks like. And if I can't, I'll at least point you in the right direction. All right. All right. The next concept here. Oh, Nuke says, what time is the Beer Club? It's at 7. Oh, you're in Central Time. It's at 6 p.m. Central Time next week on Thursday. Mark off your calendar, bro. It'd be cool for you. It would be cool to have Nuke in there. It would be fucking cool, man. Like Nuke's like a celebrity, guys. He's kind of a big deal. I don't know if you know this. It's kind of a big deal. Fucking guy Nuke. All right. The next concept here is the stoic pause. The stoic pause. So what is the stoic pause? Well, it's a delayed response, right? It's basically you're practicing inaction, and that gives you time to process emotions before responding. Speaking of Nuke, I've heard him, and I stole this from him. That son of a bitch. There is no try, Nuke. Okay, there is do or do not. There is no try, all right? Nuke one time called it the 3-second rule, right? So if you, like your lady says something and your initial gut instinct is to blast back at her, just wait 3 seconds before responding, right? That's basically the same thing. It's a stoic pause. It gives you a time to process what you're feeling in the moment so that you can respond rationally instead of react emotionally, right? It's mindful evaluation. So you can assess whether your response aligns with your values or long-term goals. Man, I was watching Grown Ups last night with my son. If you guys ever seen Grown Ups, it's a Adam Sandler movie. It came out in 2010. Well, my son, I guess, has been seeing clips from it. He goes, "Dad, we got to watch this movie, Grown Ups." And I'm like, okay. And I was like, oh man, that movie came out in 2010. I was like, that was a year after you were born. Like, that's how old this movie is. You just now are learning about it. Okay. So anyway, there's a scene in there where Rob Schneider's character, he's dating this like old broad too, right? She's like, in her 60s or 70s or something like that. And everyone's giving him crap because they have this like wildly sexual relationship. And it's just so gross because she's so old, right? Well, there's this moment where like Rob Schneider takes an arrow in the foot, and so he's sitting there, and then his wife, I guess it's his wife, I think they're married. She comes up and she starts talking about how she's going to put this natural remedy that he created, made with maize and whatever. And he's like, "Shut up, bitch! You know that stuff doesn't work." And all this stuff. He's like, "You should know because you were there with Jesus." And he just like totally reacts from emotion in the moment, right? Well, none of that aligned with his values, right? His values are that he likes old ass women and he likes these natural remedies. And so like his reaction from the moment didn't align with his values. So if he took a moment to be more mindful of his response, he would have been like, okay, this is my gut reaction to blast this old broad. But that's not my values. I value dating old ass women. Paul, what an odd comparison or odd example. Yeah, I know. Those Adam Sandler movies are good. Consistency through practice. So regularly pausing builds emotional control and resilience. Well, and it just like anything else in life, the more you practice it, the more it becomes a habit, and the more you do it without thinking about it. You know what I mean? And a lot of the stuff that we teach in the red pill space, we want you to build more attractive habits, right? It's like a lot of red pill is about be attractive, don't be unattractive, right? And the don't be unattractive part is a lot of this emotional stuff, how you're reacting in conversations with people, how you're responding to shit tests, how you're responding in arguments and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff goes to don't be unattractive. And so if you make this stuff a habit, you are the game, right? It's part of who you are now. It's not just some fake facade that your fake front that you're putting out there and trying to dupe women with. Like, this is who you are. Emotional control in intimate relationships. So one of the things that AJ talks about is becoming the anchor in the relationship. Like you're the rock, right? You're the one that she can lean on, right? You're the anchor. So a man with emotional control provides stability, security, and maturity. And that's really what women talk about when they want a guy who's, emotionally intelligent. Basically means like, not that you're share your emotions with your girl. Your girl doesn't care about your emotions. It's that you can handle her emotions and not react emotionally when she's being a woman, right? Navigating high emotions. So managing emotional ebbs and flows to maintain leadership and respect. This is one of the things I learned from Dr. Robert Glover is that when you're in a relationship, your woman is an emotional being, right? She's controlled with her estrogen. And so she's going to be on these like emotional roller coasters. She doesn't want you climbing up on the roller coaster with her. She needs to know that someone in the relationship has their feet on the ground, and she expects that to be you because you're the man, right? So you've got to be able to handle her storm. And you do that with good mental frame. And part of a mental frame is having good emotional control, right? And then he talks about women's attraction to control. So emotional stability signals strength, dependability, and trustworthiness. And that's something that like women just naturally gravitate towards, right? Which is a big theme in my book. A big theme in Get Her to Fuck You Again is about getting that stuff under control so that your wife can naturally relax into her feminine and be drawn to you again, right? AJ also talks about balancing emotional control with authenticity, right? Is this the real you? Are you being authentic? Are you being congruent? So this is where he talks about selective vulnerability again. We talked about that. Emotional intelligence, I mentioned that already. So recognize and manage your own emotions while empathizing with others, right? That's really what emotional intelligence comes down to, like understanding where she's coming from. Also understand that she's a woman, and women don't say what they mean. They say what they feel, and just okay. Well, once you know that, you don't have to take whatever she says seriously. That means you don't have to react from emotion. You can sort of almost react everything she does like it's goofy. And it allows you to maintain a masculine presence. So you want to align your emotional expression with core values and leadership goals. And that's really the goal of this whole series, is having a more dominant masculine presence, right? He talks about the role of stoicism and modern masculinity. That's a big theme in AJ's book. It's also a big theme in Wraith's book. Wraith's book is on power frame identity. So stoicism helps you by having a more master over your own emotions, right? You become the master of your emotions. You don't let your emotions control you. You become the master of them. And that stoicism teaches control over emotional impulses to maintain rationality under pressure, right? And that's it behooves you as a man to be able to learn those skills and be able to become that guy, right? It helps you be more reliable in your leadership practice, because calmness and steadiness in chaos fosters trust and respect from others. We talked about that already, right? If you are cool under pressure, like, people will follow you into hell, right? And then it gives you inner strength. So being unmoved by external currents reinforces self-mastery and dependability. Oh, Charles in the house. What's up, brother? Skol with my Red Bull here. There's also, one of the things I say at the beginning of this my podcast lately is that I'm here to help men level up and get better with women. And the process of leveling up and getting better with women makes us better in all areas of our lives. If you can learn this stuff, it's going to have a positive impact on your professional relationships too, which is another concept from this chapter in AJ's book. Leadership through composure. So staying calm in high stress environments demonstrates capability and inspires confidence. And I've mentioned this a few times on the podcast in the past, but one of the greatest compliments I ever had was after a major outage at work one time, because I come from the IT space. That's why I'm only 25 years old. That's why I have all this gray hair. It's because working in IT is a very stressful environment, right? When you manage all the infrastructure that the company makes their money on, if that stuff goes down, the company is losing millions of dollars an hour until you get that working. Like, all eyes are on you. Like, the CEO is looking at you. The board is looking at you, right? All this. I'm only 25 years old. Anyway, there was and I've dealt with major outages like several times in my career. And there was one time though where we had a major outage. I was up for like 48 hours dealing with it. And I just came like crawling back in the office like the next day, one day. And I just remember walking back in. I got my backpack. I just look like, I just been to war. And this lady, Layla, who I've worked with at this company for a long time, I just hear her, she's in the back of the office and she sees someone and she goes, "Oh my God, there's Paul. He's a soldier." Right? Like, in that moment, that was like one of the greatest compliments I ever had. She didn't even know I heard her say that, but I heard her say that. But that's leadership through composure. Like, people, when you can handle your shit during stressful situations, people respect that. Right? It allows you to be able to have good conflict resolution skills, right? Which I teach in my book. right? I teach effective, like communication that works, right? Effective communication that works. And if you can learn good communication skills, that does help with conflict resolution, right? Like a lot of people say, communication is the key to a healthy relationship. It's not. Desire and genuine desire and attraction is the key to a healthy relationship. But communication is effective at conflict resolution, which is just a tool in the toolbox, right? But if you can have good emotional control during conflict, it allows you to resolve that conflict better, right? So navigating workplace challenges with grace, minimizing drama, and fostering solutions. Like the communication style that I teach in Get Her to Fuck You Again, which I learned from Paul Benjamin, by the way. Paul Benjamin, I did give him a shout out in my acknowledgments because he's taught me so much about relationships and intersexual dynamics. Like I look at Paul Benjamin like a mentor, right? I have a lot of mentors in this space, and I appreciate every one of them. But I learned the Luca model of communication from Paul. It's very similar, and it was really easy for me to understand it. I just really like the acronym with it, but it's very similar to what Corey Wayne talks about in How to Be a 3% Man, who's another mentor of mine. He talks about listening to your girl, like in his relationship stuff at the end of his book, he talks about like listening to her, getting to the bottom of it, really understanding where she's coming from. It's essentially the Luca model. Right? It's just that the way Paul laid it out, it's almost like autistic in like how awesome it, like how simple it is, right, to follow. But if you can remember these acronyms, right, never dear, always Luca, you can actually have effective communication from a position of leadership that people respect, and you can resolve that conflict, right? There's a ripple effect. Like emotional control positively influences team morale, productivity, and overall workplace dynamics, right? If people trust your leadership, they're almost like willing to, like I said, they're willing to follow you into hell, right? They're going to work harder. They're going to be more motivated. Like it just creates a ripple effect. And then the last concept here is building emotional mastery as a daily practice. All right. Now, journaling for reflection. This is one thing that if you work with me in my, if you're having relationship struggles and you want to work with me, this is one of the things I have you do on a weekly basis, right? You're going to do certain tasks and you're going to journal about it, right? You're going to actually, at the end of the day, reflect on what happened in your day, what worked, what didn't, all that kind of stuff. But especially when we're talking about like shit test days, right? Because there's a week where we go into shit tests. There's one where I talk about basically emotional resilience and stuff. And one of the things that you need to do is be able to like recognize when you reacted from emotion. Like a lot of us, we don't even know we're doing it, right? We don't even, it's been so ingrained in us that we just do these things, right? This is our bad habit at the moment. In order to break that, you have to create some kind of awareness. Well, journaling for reflection creates that awareness. Because if you're like, I'm going to journal about this at the end of the day, you're actually going to take note of your thoughts and emotions throughout the day so that you know what to journal, right? It's going to be on the forefront of your mind. Well, that by definition will create, mental awareness of it. And then it'll actually allow you at the end of the day when you track those things, like I got pissed off here, what triggered that? Well, now that's going to be able to you to recognize those triggers and know how to handle it better going forward, right? So you can track emotional triggers, responses, and it will give you ideas for improvement, right? He has some exercises in his book for emotional release. And I know most of you guys, your emotional release is to go jack off or something. AJ doesn't talk about that in his book. I just threw that out there as a joke. Smash that like button though. If that's your go-to for emotional release. He talks about physical activity and how that reduces stress and builds mental toughness, right? Well, that is a physical activity, is it? Is it not, Paul? Yeah, I guess it is. But I think what AJ talks about more is like go to the gym, right? Go to the gym, take on something physical, all that kind of stuff is a good way to release those emotions in a more positive, constructive manner, right? but definitely go bang your broad, right? Like go bang the shit out. Like if you're having a really bad day, just hate fuck the shit out of your wife. Like just, she's going to appreciate that, you know? So it's a win. It's a win-win. AJ doesn't talk about that either in his book. I'm just throwing that out there. Ooh, that's one thing. So I have a coaching client, and he had a lot of like pent up resentment, you know, as guys do. Like when guys come to me for the coaching and stuff like that, a lot of guys have a lot of resentment with their wives because their wives aren't putting out, and they think that they're doing all this stuff for her, and they think that her wifely obligation is to give it up more, and she's not. So that creates a lot of resentment, right? Well, and so what a lot of guys do is when their wife finally does initiate, right, they will be like, well, fuck you. Like I've been trying to initiate like all this time. And now that you want it, like I'm supposed to just give in. And I told my man, I said, yeah. No. If she's initiating, you want to reward that good behavior. Like that's what we want. We want more sex, right? So if she's offering sex, like take that. And then if you have a lot of pent up resentment because she, you know, your gut instinct is to reject her because you resent her for all the time she rejected you. That's the perfect opportunity to hate fuck the shit out of her, right? But the thing is that's going to create more raw, visceral, like, you know, carnal, like dirty sex. And your wife is actually going to be like, oh shit, what has gotten into this guy? And she's going to like it. And that's going to create her to want to initiate more, right? So you're rewarding her good behavior with raw, passionate fucking, right? But no. My wife wants to be made love to. No, she doesn't, bro. No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. And then we have consistency over time, right? Emotional control is a skill that requires daily effort and commitment to develop fully. It's just like anything else in life. If you want to get good at it, it requires practice. Okay. Practice makes perfect. Even guys who are not in committed relationships and they're out dating, right? A lot of guys have originally gravitated to my channel because they were out dating and stuff like that. They all hate dating. Well, if you want to get good at dating, you have to date more and embrace the process and get good at it, right? Guys that like are able to spin plates and date multiple women is because they're fucking good at dating, right? Guys that have a scarcity mindset and they just take what they can get because they hate dating so much, don't do so well. And then they end up in relationships that they probably shouldn't have been in the first place. You understand? So it's just like anything else in life. If you want to build that emotional durability, it takes practice and it takes effort. Okay. But the more you do it, the more you practice it, the more it becomes habit. The more it becomes habit, the less it seems like work. And it becomes just something that you do, right? We call that muscle memory. All right, guys, that's chapter 4. That's the essential skills of masculine presence, psychology, emotion. Lots of great stuff here, especially if you're a guy that, if your wife says that you have anger issues, get AJ's book, okay? If you find yourself in arguments with people all the time that don't pan out and you're just constantly yelling and arguing with people, get AJ's book, okay? Psychology, emotion. It's all about getting your emotions under control. I'll drop another link to that in the chat here. We'll throw AJ a bone. Here we go. All right. Tune into Rule Zero tomorrow. Jack Napier's hosting. He wants to talk about workplace stuff. I don't know where he wants to go with that specifically, but he wanted to talk about something about workplace. Tune in to Dragon Ship after that. That jabroni Glenn Lawrence is gracing us with his presence again, and allegedly he's supposed to be hosting. I asked him yesterday when I was writing the show notes, hey, what's the topic going to be Saturday? And he did reply. He said that he wants to talk about hoe tactics. So I haven't seen him schedule that yet. So assuming that he schedules that, and that's what's going to be the topic for Saturday. Otherwise, tune into the podcast Monday. I'm going to be talking about the type 3 captains based on Ryan Stone's book on dread, which is right here, right? Ryan Stone's book on dread. And I reached out to Ryan to see if he would join me. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. He hasn't got back to me yet on X, but we'll see. Hopefully Ryan could join me because, you know, Ryan did write the book, right? He did write the book on this. He got that from Jack 10 of Hearts. But Ryan really goes into this and then adds a bunch of old field reports from the Red Pill archive that correspond to the different type of captains. So you really understand what the dynamics are in these types of relationships. And so that you can understand where you're at, because what we found in the red pill space, or what these other guys have found in the red pill space, is that when guys are in dysfunctional relationships that aren't working well, they land in one of those three buckets. They're either a type 1, type 2, or type 3 captain. And right, a type 1 captain is the easiest situation to turn around, right? Absolute easiest situation to turn around. I would venture to say that most type 1 captains could get my book, Get Her to Fuck You Again, run with it, apply the information, and immediately see results, right? Type 2 captains, a little bit more difficult to get around, because there's a lot of mental behavior and bad habits that you got to fix in order to turn that dynamic around. And then a type 3 captain, which we'll get into on Friday, is probably the hardest dynamic, because those guys, they basically, like, their wife runs the show, right? It's the captain and her husband is what that is, right? These guys are total beta males. These women totally run their lives. And those guys, is such a harder dynamic, because the way Ryan explains it, most of these women that are type 3, women are the type 3 captains, they're looking for an enabler. They're looking for a guy that won't push back that much. But the problem is that because he won't push back that much, and he doesn't start taking control of the relationship, she still resents him for it. She looks down at him like he's weak. And that's why you end up in a dead bedroom, right? So that's a really hard dynamic. And I'd love for Ryan to join me. Ryan, if you are listening right now, please, sir, check your DMs on X. I'd love to have you there. But if not, it's cool. I'll go over it. That's all we got, guys. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like clockwork. Thanks to everyone that sounded off in the chat today. I appreciate you. I didn't see any super chats. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. But that's okay, because when you guys don't send super chats, I don't get demonetized. And then we got, follow me on social media. I'm on all the good platforms. Get my ebook. Go to list.comeonmanpod.com. Get the free ebook, She's Made You Weak. It's all about the betatization process. And then get my latest book, which takes that idea and then really expands on that, how to understand where you're at in the betatization process. And then the whole book is a guide to turn that all around. So Get Her to Fuck You Again. It's available in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle. And the audiobook is dropping next week, allegedly. Get in Beer Club, guys. Our next hangout is next week on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then if you guys really need help in your relationship, don't go see a marriage counselor. If you're thinking about, hey, my wife and I've been talking and I'm looking for a marriage counselor, don't fucking do it. Okay. Marriage counseling doesn't work. All right. A lot of the marriage counseling is blue pilled, ineffective nonsense, like love languages that just don't fucking work. Okay. You've got to fix the root cause. I help men fix the root cause. So forget the marriage counseling, book a free call with me. Go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. That's all we got. We'll see you tomorrow on Rule Zero.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.
Wait. I just saw it last minute, $2 and demonetized, you bastard. Okay. All right. Well, you're going to get the thing.
Thank you for the super chats. Movies bouncing, can't stop that. From the east to the west, you are the best. Keep those chats coming in, let's do it all again.
All right, you bastard. We're done now.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.